Welcome to the Hindsight podcast, where we visit the past dramas that have plagued the community and offer clarity on the situation. I am the host of this podcast, Exotic, and with me we have Party 117.
Yo, yo, yo. What's good?
And also with me we have Twitter artist at Presnia on Twitter, aka Squatchin.
Ew, that's me.
And also with me we have Mike the Bike.
What's up? Hello, welcome, goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, like you did in episode 2. You're like, bye.
Bye.
Bye. All sad and depressed
Bye.
looking ass. All right, but this is also a very special episode because for Hindsight, we have our very first guest of the podcast. So I'd like a warm welcome.
That's true. Our first guest is none other than Exotic is our first guest.
I hate you. I'm the host of this. We're gonna kick him out. We're gonna kick him out for simping too much.
What?
Our first ever guest of the show, and I'd like a warm welcome for him, and it's going to be Nerdy John. Welcome in, Nerdy John.
Hello. I'm glad to be a guest on this podcast, especially with the subject matter at hand. You know, it's one of my favorite subjects on YouTube to cover.
Dude, you were really going in on the T-channel stuff. I remember you posted a bunch of videos about Helloleesh in particular, and I was like really interested in what you had to say about Helloleesh because I wasn't really too invested with her. I didn't really know too much about her, but to see you cover just how shit her community was and just the downfall of her was just absolutely hilarious, dude.
Right, because I'm sure you want to get into the specifics later on, but like she purposefully cultivated this cancel culture audience, and so whenever like the slightest mistake she made, they were fucking piranhas towards her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we're going to be going into her a little bit later on too. But this right now is, I'm so excited to get into this because right now it's going to be my favorite part of the day, my favorite time of the day, story time, okay? So the T-channels is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about in Hindsight for a pretty long time now. And I see the T-channels as a very important part in YouTube drama history because something that you have to understand when it comes to the T-channels is that not only there are a lot of them, but they also have an extremely large platform where they talk about creators such as the creators that we're going to be talking about, Eugenia Cooney and Gabbie Hanna. The T-channels have built this reputation for themselves as covering those two creators in particular, as well as other creators. But they also are known to, nowadays, lie about the people they talk about, be dishonest, hypocritical, like to moral grandstand on issues. To see their whole community fall apart and then be rebranded as, have them be branded as like T-channels and have that stigma of like negativity towards them was pretty good for me to see because they were getting away with lying about people for a really long time.
Sorry to interrupt you, but like none of them want to be called a T channel anymore. Like T was part of the branding. Now it's like venom towards them.
Ugh, I hate tea.
Yeah, it has like a negative connotation to that word T. Because before it was like that, where people would be like, let's talk about the T, which is how they got the name T channels. One of the main topics that the T channels would talk about would be Eugenia Cooney. And Eugenia Cooney has been around on the platform for actually a very long time now. She's one of the OG creators that have stood the test of time in terms of her relevancy, I would say.
Yeah.
But she is known to be a very, quote unquote, controversial figure. And part of the reason why she's controversial is really fucking retarded. And the T-channels, they take her quote unquote controversies and try to make this a big moral issue to try to get her basically deplatformed.
Well, the interesting thing about Eugenia Cooney was back in the day, Onision would rag on her, and he was using the same sort of like moral grandstanding that the T channels were using against her. But at the time, it was more profitable to criticize Onision, so they defended her when it mattered to them, I guess. And then as soon as Onision was out of the picture, she became a main target.
Unfortunately, the T-channels being hypocritical is nothing new for them. They've been doing this for years at this point. If in case you don't know about Eugenia Cooney and her situation and her story, her dramas, is that Eugenia Cooney is anorexic. And she's been like that for a very long time now. And the T-channels, and as well as her audience, have seen Eugenia Cooney and her journey on YouTube and Twitch. And they've always advocated for her to receive help and to leave the internet to go receive help. But the way they go about doing this is very disgusting, in my opinion, is that they basically want her to get removed from the platforms. They turns into like hating Eugenia Cooney so much where basically every little thing that she does is something that you can criticize Eugenia Cooney for, including her parents, her friends, just like basic shit, such as like reading donations or even like moving a box on her live stream. I know that there was the petition to remove Eugenia Cooney from the internet so that she can receive help, and that they would also advocate for her content to be age restricted as well too.
Yeah.
The reason why that the T channels want to deplatform Eugenia Cooney is because of the fact that in their minds, Eugenia Cooney is someone who is problematic because she is encouraging her audience to also become anorexic. And I know this is something that we talk about all the time, John, but this is so fucking annoying because of the fact that with these T channels, it's like they say that the reason why she's encouraging other people to be anorexic is simply because that she's existing.
Yeah. It's one of those instances where it's like, I would understand if she was advocating, why you should have a body like me, for example. Like that was like a video she did. I could understand then, maybe. If we're talking about like, oh, you're actively doing something to your body that would encourage or influence your viewers, I think people like Nikocado Avocado would be a better example of that. Of course, with that being said, I don't think Nikocado Avocado should be off the platform simply because he's fat and eats a lot of food for his content, because that's just stupid. When you put that into context, it makes the Eugenia Cooney situation really, really stupid, because at that point, what you're essentially saying is because they have a mental health problem, they need to be off the platform. Because that's what anorexia is. It's a mental health problem that, unlike other mental health issues, you physically see the results.
If Eugenia Cooney was someone who would go on her YouTube channel or Twitch streams and she would advocate for other people to follow her lifestyle, then that would be one thing, and I could kind of see the points where they're coming from. But she doesn't do that. And she never advocates. I don't believe that I've ever seen a clip of her advocating for other people, such as like her viewers, to live her lifestyle and to follow in her footsteps. I've never seen that before. And so I have no idea why these T channels have come up with this narrative that Eugenia Cooney is like convincing people to be anorexic as well too. It's just like retarded. I don't understand why. I don't believe that Eugenia Cooney has the power to just fire up a live stream or make a YouTube video and just say, hey guys, follow my lifestyle, and then just magically convince everyone to become anorexic too.
Dude, apparently to some of these T channels, she has the power to influence like people everywhere, man. Like apparently like Eugenia Cooney is like a witch and we didn't know about it. She's like the Scarlet Witch, man. She can just like influence an entire group of people to do her bidding.
The way you said influence reminded me of the term influencer. This has been a term that's been like attached to YouTube personalities, Twitch streamers as well too. Online public figures, that type of deal. Is that we have the term influencer. And I think that term is something that's been used against the creators, honestly. Because of the fact that when you have that term being labeled as an influencer, it then allows people to criticize you and say, hey, look, you're an influencer, so therefore you influence people. Which, someone we're going to talk about later down the line did mention that. So, yeah, I hate that term, though, because guys, if you actually believe that the creators that you watch online are supposed to be like role models for you,
should probably go get help.
Like, I'm sorry, but you need to fucking go make some real friends or something like that.
Touch some grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, go outside, make some real friends, go get help, whatever the fuck that may be, because it's not healthy for you if you think like these YouTubers are like massive role models.
Yeah, like if you're literally getting a panic attack over losing like mod, you might need to take a break from the internet.
Oh my god.
Right.
Party, here's the thing, right? Okay, you're a young guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a young guy, when you see these bigger content creators, posting their videos, million subscribers, thousands of views, right? Have you ever seen them as like a role model for you to follow?
No, not particularly. I'd see like them as like inspirations maybe, but not like as like role models,
The only role model for me is PewDiePie.
Why PewDiePie?
Wait, what?
Okay, actually, unironically, let's get into this really quick.
Sure, let's
So
do it.
PewDiePie is someone, for a good portion of time, was the biggest guy on the entire platform. Yet he's more genuine than a lot of the other big celebrities from YouTube. You know, he was more genuine than Jake Paul or Logan Paul when they were really big. Like, he's just been consistently genuine. He did have a little bit of time where he was kind of up himself, like ego wise, but he got over that pretty quickly. And so I think him having the amount of money and success he has, and him being so humble and down to earth still, he obviously spends his money on expensive stuff, but you don't see him living in like a mansion and excess of things. Like, he's pretty down to earth. So I unironically, I think PewDiePie is a role model for what you should strive for when it comes to success. You know, shoot for success, but also stick to your roots.
Right, because like, and the thing with him too is like, it's not even like, oh, like I'm a minimalist. I don't need like worldly desires, right? No, from what we see, it seems like he lives comfortably. I'm sure he can splooge on like money whenever he wants, but like the dude keeps it real, and I respect that. Whereas like a lot of like the vlogger types, the LA vlogger types, those guys started out rich already. So they already had an ego when they got like their 10 million subs.
Yeah.
Those key words that you said, Mike, humble, keeping your ego in check and sticking to your roots, those are terms that cannot be applied to the T channels because they are dishonest, they are hypocritical, they lie all the time, they take moral high ground on issues, and they're really annoying and I don't like them. And we're going to be talking about some particular creators.
And a lot of them are gay too. Let's not forget that.
Oh.
And more importantly, women.
No.
Oh my, so true. So true.
Now, I did want to talk about specific creators. So Pastel Belle was somebody that made a massive splash in especially commentary, not necessarily because of not because of the fact that she made good videos, but because she had such ridiculous fucking takes on Eugenia Cooney that everybody basically laughed at her.
Yeah.
Willie Mac made quite a few good videos on her.
Yeah, although we have to acknowledge Nick was the first person I know of in the community that covered her extensively because he covered her in his hypocritical YouTube hypocrites video.
And a thing about like Pastel Belle compared to like the other T channels we're going to be talking about here, she keeps changing her name. I'm gonna only to assume to avoid the criticism that she keeps receiving. Yeah, it's still gonna follow her though.
Yeah,
That's
so
the thing.
her name before the naked video was Pastel Belle. When she was in the drama with Willie Mac, she was Belle Aubrey. Last time I checked, she was Bella Vision. I don't know if she's changed it since.
Bella Vision?
Yeah, Bella Vision.
Yeah, Bella Vision.
It's the fucking terrible name.
We'll get into what she makes later on, but yeah, she went through like a whole like rebrand change, and not for the better, trust me.
Yeah, she's really desperate to try to rebrand herself and to come back in the scene, but honestly, it's just not working. Because regardless of how many times she tries to rebrand herself, she's still the same person at the end of the day. She's still the same retard.
Yeah.
Well, didn't she have like, isn't one of like the funniest things about her, like she had like crazy conspiracy theories around.
We're going to get into some of those.
Eugenia?
To quote Willie Mac, like he got into a call with Repzilla, which is another person we'll be talking about. He got into a call with Repzilla and Belle Aubrey. When he came out of that, he came to the conclusion that Repzilla could at least, take care of himself at the end of the day. With Belle, he wouldn't trust her around a toaster.
What the fuck?
She's that stupid.
Yes.
We talk about crazy conspiracies with Eugenia Cooney, but the extent of how much Belle talks about her is like borderline harassment. And we'll get into that right now, actually. So part of the crazy conspiracy theories that Belle Aubrey was saying about Eugenia Cooney was that she made the claim that Eugenia Cooney was intentionally trying to flash the camera, showing her underwear to her audience, right? Now, how would anybody come to this conclusion, right? It seems fucking completely ridiculous. Well, let's listen to Belle, right? She has this fucking wild explanation, right? So how she came to this conclusion was that Eugenia Cooney's eyeshadow was actually the same color as her underwear. So it was all intentional. It was all just to flash the camera.
Yeah, it was a grand plan by Eugenia Cooney. You know, if she woke up that morning, Eugenia went, yes, I'm going to match my eyeshadow to my underwear, and that's going to get me so many views.
I know, right? It's like this will get people talking about me for like the next couple of days. Like,
Yeah, now her audience is gonna be like, "Oh my god, did you see her panties? They totally matched with her eyeshadow."
I know, like Eugenia somehow knows her audience all have one very specific fetish, and it has to be the eyeshadow has to match the underwear. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can just look at the one frame she's talking about, and very clearly the eyeshadow and the panties don't match. And if you want further evidence of this, William Mack in his own video went into Photoshop with those frames and did the eyedropper tool to sample the colors. They didn't match whatsoever.
there were different colors, and it's funny because people like Pastel Belle, they literally think that Eugenia Cooney is like some like evil villain, like sitting in her chair, like petting her cat.
Dude, yeah.
And it's like mustache twirling and looking outside the window being like, yes, like how can I manipulate my audience to be anorexic?
In my video, I called her the Alex Jones of the tea world. And the funny thing is, she wasn't even the one who was using tarot cards, but still.
I know, dude.
And yeah, and then the funny thing is, it's like, I hope we acknowledge this. Like, do you realize that if it was a dude trying to point that out, how much of a fucking creep he would be?
I can imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, like imagine a dude like, look at her panties. They're the same they're the same color as her eyeshadow. Isn't that suspicious, guys?
Yeah, that'd be really fucking weird, and no one would take him seriously.
Yeah, that'd be quite weird.
I've analyzed it, guys. I've analyzed it. I know that they match.
Yeah, but Belle, there's no limit to how just crazy she'll go with her conspiracy theories about Eugenia Cooney. She's even said something absolutely wild, saying that Eugenia Cooney is being cut off from positive influence in her life.
When that's not the case.
Like her parents are like trying to cut her off from her friends and just basically isolating her from like any sort of influence, like positive influence in her life. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, she said that shit with like zero evidence too.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like it's this weird narrative of like the parents are manipulating Eugenia, but at the same time, Eugenia is 100% on board and is willing to influence millions of kids into being anorexic just like her. And another thing I want to point out is Belle Aubrey says that she used to be anorexic. And so apparently, her evidence of Eugenia influencing is when she watches Eugenia, she wants to not eat. You can use your personal experience to like talk about issues, right? But to use your experience as like a broad stroke, that's where I have a problem with, because you're acting like everyone who's dealt with a similar issue is of a hive mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just because, for example, a lot of soldiers suffer from PTSD, but that doesn't mean like one soldier can represent all people with PTSD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just because everyone has suffered from the similar thing doesn't mean they're all gonna think the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's clearly just like projecting her feelings onto like everyone who's watching Eugenia Cooney. So because of the fact that she gets like triggered and by like Eugenia Cooney's ED, now everyone's gonna get triggered by her ED, and she's like choosing to.
Yeah, she's like
say that
projection,
everyone's doing it.
100% projecting.
Yeah, and I want to point something out too. Like you know how I brought up the Nikocado avocado comparison earlier?
Yeah.
She acknowledged that in one of her videos, and her reasoning was, well, people can look at Nick and see that he's not attractive, where Eugenia is somehow closer to the standard, like to beauty standards.
Yeah, it was such a fucking weird point to make. It's such a dumb point, because she's just like, well, people just know not to look like Nikocado avocado because he's fat.
Yeah. And look, Eugene, Eugenia, if you're watching this, honey, I love you. But I'm sorry, Eugenia. When people look at literal skin and bones, they don't think, yes, that's beauty.
At least the average person doesn't look at that. Like, if you have a fetish for that, but then you could say the same thing about Nick. Yeah, people that find Nick attractive would obviously have a fetish for that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's like a sub-dom relationship called like feeders, where it's like a skinny people intentionally feed the fat person so that way they become fatter.
While these fetishes and these weird people do exist, and I don't doubt that people who are into like anorexic girls are watching Eugenia Cooney, and the people who are into like obese people like Nikocado Avocado are watching his content. It's like, can you really make the argument that these creators are trying to like appeal to that specific demographic of their audience?
Right. And like I feel like a lot of what like Belle specifically points out as like, oh, see, she's like flashing the camera. Like, if you remember, there was like a nip slip Eugenia had a few months ago. Like, and like people were trying to pinpoint that too. I feel like people are just like trying to hyper analyze everything about her. So like any little mistake that she makes will be like blown way out of proportion, because like Eugenia isn't the first girl to like have stuff like that happen to her. She just happens to be the best known anorexic person.
Yeah, this is one of those weird cases where the drama gets so overinflated that basically anybody can talk about the drama with their fucking wild takes. Where before it was like, if the drama's small, usually we have a bunch of people like Spurgs kind of just saying whatever. And then we have the bigger people, which are usually, I would hope, more intelligent with their takes on situations. And then so many people like hyper analyze everything she does. You could basically say like anything about her, which with like zero evidence, and people would like be down to listen to your weird conspiracy theory.
You can straight up use tarot cards as like your evidence. And like the dude who used it was like, the stars don't lie, girl. Like he was saying, I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying something along those lines. And it's just like, no, like it's nice that you believe in that. But like, if you want to accuse someone of something, because like, you have to remember the context of the tarot cards being used was to prove that the parents were being abusive. If you're saying that the parents are abusive, you need to have concrete evidence.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a hot take with you guys, but tarot cards are not solid evidence.
I don't know. I had my tarot cards read once, and things have been going pretty smoothly ever since then.
Oh, okay.
What?
Party, what are your thoughts on the tarot cards? Go ahead.
Like John said, I don't believe there's sufficient evidence, like the tarot cards are evidence that this stuff's going on. And in order to like for that to be legitimate evidence, 100% everybody would have to believe in those. And guess what? They don't.
T's a cancer.
This is a pretty heavy accusation too. They're basically just like slandering Eugenia Cooney's parents at this point.
When you're dealing with someone who has a mental health disorder, especially of one such as anorexia, I would imagine it's probably lead to a pretty stressful lifestyle. I mean, especially if like she's been dealing with this for literally years, to the point where she's like in her mid-20s and she still has to live with her parents because they need to make sure that she at least eats something, because if she's on her own, she literally won't eat whatsoever.
The conspiracy theories with Eugenia Cooney, unfortunately with Belle, they just get fucking worse and worse the more we talk about them. And something else that she's also said about Eugenia Cooney, and well, that she's also took a part in actually, was advocating for Eugenia Cooney to be deplatformed. A while back ago, there was a petition that people were signing to have Eugenia Cooney be removed from the internet for, I guess, a period of time until she receives help. And the idea was that Eugenia Cooney being on the internet was basically enabling her to not receive any help for her eating disorder. And so banning her and removing her from the internet would then force her to get help. And we had a lot of people signing this petition to remove Eugenia Cooney. And this is something that the T channels also were advocating for as well too with this petition. In particular, Pastel Belle, who not only encouraged people to sign that petition, Pastel Belle also encouraged her audience to also block and report Eugenia's content, essentially false flagging it for no fucking reason.
Ugh, I hate tea.
Yeah, exactly. Her alongside Repzilla as well was advocating for that. Repzilla's coverage of the situation was hilarious because he was on top of just parroting everyone who already had covered it, because the thing with Repzilla is he doesn't really do in-depth research himself. Rather, he watches a bunch of videos people have already done, and he concludes his opinion based off that, which is fine if you're a viewer, but if you're a content creator, you need to dig deeper into the subject.
Yeah.
And he was saying stuff like, oh, this blue butterfly symbol, the only blue butterfly emoji that's on Twitter, is somehow a symbol for this anorexic cult to like signal to each other that they're pro anorexia. It delves into like some weird fucking shit, dude. And Belle believed in it as well. It's just the leaps in logic that these people were willing to take during that entire situation still baffles me to this day.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was basically getting to the point where you could just say anything, to the point where blue butterflies, an emoji on the like iPhone, were being used against Eugenia Cooney, trying to prove that she's cultivating some sort of audience of people who are interested in her anorexia, or that she's encouraging her audience to be anorexic because of the fucking butterfly emoji.
When in reality, Eugenia was using the butterfly emoji because she likes butterflies. I know, shocker.
Like, bro, it's a fucking butterfly emoji. Come on.
What the fuck?
I don't know about that one, John. Like, who really likes butterflies? Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got me there, Mike.
Have you seen the SpongeBob episode where the butterfly terrorizes Bikini Bottom?
Oh my god.
Those things are terrifying.
Dude, when the
True.
butterfly gets zoomed in on, you can see like how realistic it looks. It's
Yeah.
just so
I mean, no,
disturbing.
unironically, butterflies are terrifying up close, but usually you don't look at them like that, so.
Dude, insects are fucking scary.
You're just like, ooh, pretty wings.
Dude, butterflies do have pretty wings though, especially if they're blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And like this is a common theme you'll notice with these G channels where they bring up the dumbest like possible like sources of evidences and uses it as some sort of like conclusive evidence that this is what's going on. As you brought up the blue butterflies, apparently that's like a symbol for something. And then earlier with the tarot cards, like that's just like a common pattern you notice with these T channels.
Yeah, using very tiny evidence as a source for your wild accusations.
Something that you'd expect like joke evidence that'd be used as like serious evidence, which can be dangerous.
Like they'll use guys. They were mean in a Discord call once as like legit evidence to pinpoint why this person is a sociopath and why like they're influencing their entire audience to commit horrendous crimes or something along those lines.
What?
But to be fair to Pastel Belle, she did have at least one good point that I found in her many Eugenia Cooney videos, right? Let me go over the situation. So Drew Shares is a guy who stayed with Eugenia Cooney for a little bit, and he claimed that her parents were nice to him. So that kind of debunks the whole Eugenia Cooney's parents are abusive narrative. Now, Pastel Belle did say that Drew Shares is being used as a source to disprove Eugenia Cooney's parents are abusive isn't well enough. And I actually agree with her. You know, just because he stayed with her for a short period of time doesn't necessarily mean that her parents aren't abusive towards her.
Yeah, and like here's the thing, right? Yeah, sure, you can say, oh well, of course they would put on like a mask, a persona to be nice to a guest for a few days, right? But it was mountains more evidence than what Belle and her cohorts could imply, because Willie Mack actually talked to someone outside of the family who interacted with them.
I could understand of that being not enough evidence, but something you have to remember is that people like Pastel Belle and Repzilla, they need to prove that Eugenia Cooney's parents are abusive, not the other way around where we have people like us need to disprove that our parents aren't abusive. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, like the burden of proof is on you, buddy, and you haven't shown that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, come on, guys. Like you're the ones that need to prove that our parents are abusive, not us disprove that. Okay. So him doing that, while I still agree with Drew Shares not being the best source of evidence, it's still the best we got, and they still need to do a better job at proving that, which is completely bullshit at this point. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that Pastel Belle tried to do was respond to Willie Mack's video. So we've all seen Willie Mack's T-channel audits on Angelica Oles, Pastel Belle, Repzilla. And for Pastel Belle, she tried to make a response video for Willie Mack. And it was pretty garbage, I'm not gonna lie. At one point, she tries to paint Willie Mack as like a bigot.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier that a lot of the T channels are people in the LGBT community and women. And Willie Mack talking about those T channels is apparently him being a bigot, according to Pastel Belle.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like we can no longer criticize your entire genre at that point, which, by the way, that wouldn't work for me because guess what, bitches? I'm in LGBT, but I digress, right? So, but still, it's like when I criticize someone, especially in that instance, I didn't criticize Pastel Belle because she's a woman. Willie Mack didn't criticize her because she's a woman. We criticized her because she had a dumb take.
And that's like a major argument. It's like they use as like a card. It's like, oh, you're attacking me because I'm a woman. You're attacking me because I'm part of the LGBTQ. It's like, no, it's because you don't have a good take. That's why.
It's because you're retarded. That's why.
Lol, cope.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the fact that you're part of these like groups. It's just you're retarded.
Yeah, if you genuinely believe that the reason why people like us even are coming after you and criticizing you just because of the fact that you're in the LGBT community or that you're a woman, like you're just fucking retarded, and that's why we're criticizing you.
Tea's a cancer. Coffee better.
Oh my god. And another thing the reason why I don't fucking like Pastel Belle is that she's the type of person that believes that creators have a, responsibility on their platform, which is something that we've talked about before, just in private, about creators having responsibilities to their viewers and being in a leadership position for their viewers, which I disagree with. I don't see Eugenia Cooney as a leader.
Yeah. Something tells me that she's not really leadership material. No, again, no offense to her. I'm sure she's a lovely girl, but she doesn't exactly ooze influential potential. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This links back to this person's an influencer argument, which again, they aren't influencers. They aren't really trying to be role models. If you consider them as such, you should probably log off. And the creators don't have a responsibility of what their audience does unless they tell them directly what to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think about that, Mike?
I agree.
Ayo.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is the problem with a subject like this, kind of, because it's so ridiculous that any take that isn't theirs is really agreeable.
Well, it's because they're fucking insane, all of them.
Ugh, I hate tea.
Especially the kind of people that have survived getting hit by a truck, Those people end up being really insane.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, those particular people. Yeah, well, that's actually we're going to talk about him right now, too. We kind of did cover the whole blue butterfly situation, but something else that he was trying to do was that he was part of the people who were trying to advocate that Eugenia Cooney's content needs to be age restricted.
Yeah.
So in the mind of a T channel, why does her content need to be age restricted?
Because children watch her videos, because apparently parents can't parent. And this was actually a thing in one of Belle's response videos, was that apparently parents don't know how to parent, and so therefore it is up to the content creator to parent their kids.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is something that I've always really disagreed with, and this is why I take such a fucking heavy stance against people like Pastel Belle and her dumb response about responsibility as a content creator. It's like, dude, it's not our job to police other content creators and say, hey, you can't make this content creator because it's bad for the children that watch you.
Think of the children, Exotic.
No.
It's not our job to be like parents. It's not our job to be role models for you. It's not our job to be in a leadership position for you. It's just our job. The only thing that we have to do for other people is just be entertaining.
And not violate TOS, but, you know, those are so vague.
And not violate TOS. But yeah, I don't understand why this whole narrative that Eugenia Cooney's content is harmful to children, harmful to these young, impressionable children who are so, I guess, sheeple that they can't just think for themselves to understand that Eugenia Cooney's eating disorder is unhealthy. I guess they can't come to that conclusion themselves, so they need to have her content age restricted, which is another way of just attacking her platform.
It's just ridiculous. Like, why? Why should her content be age restricted? Now, if she wants to age restrict her videos for whatever reason, you know, again, that's on her. But for you to campaign that, it's just so fucking ridiculous.
It really is fucking ridiculous, honestly.
This boggled my mind so much. Keep in mind, guys, like when I made my video on her, like my toes in commentary were like barely wet. Me being like the new guy, her points were so easy to debunk. I was just like, bam, you're ridiculous. Bam, like this is so stupid. Like literal children can debunk Belle's points. Like Willie said, I don't trust her around a toaster. And she wants to be a political advocate. She cites people like Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker as political influences. You know, those two, the great political philosophers of our time.
Yeah, Ethan Klein, or the great moral authority of YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for Pastel Belle, she did double down on a lot of her stances against Eugenia Cooney. However, Repzilla actually did walk back on a few of those, surprisingly. It took a while for him to be convinced otherwise and to have him take back what he said, but he did do it. He did walk back from his position about the petition to remove Eugenia Cooney from the internet.
Yeah, you had to strong arm him, but he eventually conceded, you know, which is way better than what Belle Aubrey did. I'm sure we're all aware of the Half Baked podcast, you know, another commentary podcast on YouTube. Willie Mack was a guest on there, and he talked about Belle, when she was in the call with Willie, was accusing him of being on Eugenia's mom's payroll.
Yeah, that's something that people would say, even about the next person we're going to get into too. That was a point against the commentary people, is that they were on like the payroll, this magical payroll that like Eugenia Cooney and the next person we're going to talk about, they were part of like their defense squad, like ready to protect them. Like what the fuck? Like no.
Another thing I remember that Belle's main defense was, well, YouTube doesn't take down her videos because she makes them money. So here's the problem with that. When someone is in violation of TOS, their stuff gets taken down. When R. Kelly was done with his trial, I guarantee you, if we had access to the numbers, one R. Kelly music video probably made more money than Eugenia's entire channel. But they took down R. Kelly's music because he technically went against TOS because he committed a crime. And so YouTube felt the need to take his stuff down. And there have been much bigger people with platforms taken down by YouTube, much bigger than Eugenia's. So that narrative of YouTube makes a lot of money on Eugenia Cooney, it's null and void at that point.
Yeah, so Pastel Belle is a fucking idiot. Repzilla is an idiot as well too. And Eugenia Cooney has done nothing wrong, so I don't believe that she should be deplatformed from YouTube or Twitch or anything like that. These people are just fucking crazy.
Yeah, so Jaclyn Glenn was acquaintances with Eugenia Cooney, and she felt like it was her responsibility to 51-50 her. Essentially, taking Eugenia against her will to get treatment. Now, while Eugenia did somewhat get help from this, ultimately she relapsed because she didn't go of her own volition. This is the thing, and it's the same thing with addicts too. you can't help them unless they're willing to be helped, unless they're willing to better themselves. And unfortunately, Eugenia just isn't in the same mindset a lot of the time.
Yeah, that was kind of like the moral of the story, is that regardless of whatever position Eugenia Cooney may be in, it's up to, if she really wants to get help, it's up to her to do that for herself. You can't just force these people to just become better. I'm actually kind of glad that you called Jaclyn Glenn an acquaintance, because honestly, I don't know what kind of friend would pull that type of shit on another
Well,
another
no,
friend.
Eugenia straight up said that she wasn't really friends with her.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is that they were being initially presented as these were her friends. But they weren't really their friends, honestly, because if you're friends with someone, you don't do that type of shit to someone. And to kind of go over the story.
Well, wait, you don't do like, what do you mean specifically? What don't you do to someone? Like force them to go to rehab?
Like, they 5150'd her. So it's like, to kind of go recap the story
I think
a little
it's
bit.
kind of, okay, you can recap the story real
Okay,
quick.
so to kind of go over the story is that what they ended up doing is that they were tricking Eugenia Cooney. And what they did is that they set up the scenario where they were going to be like, hey, let's all go hang out. Let's all go to an escape room together, right? And it was going to be really fun. And so she went out to go hang out with Jaclyn Glenn and all the rest of her friends. And next thing you know, this kind of thing gets sprung on her, where now she's being taken away to like, I believe it was like a psych ward, and they held her for like a short amount of time. I think it was like a day or 2 or 3.
I think it was, I believe it was either 48 hours or 72 hours.
I'm more inclined to believe it was 72 hours, honestly. But yeah, they kind of just sprung that on her, and it was just kind of fucking crazy.
I have to disagree that it's always a bad thing. Like, that's not something a friend would do, because there's a very famous counter to that, which would be the Steve-O situation, where he was basically forced by his friends and family to go to rehab, and he's been clean ever since. So, like, just because something is wrong to do doesn't mean you didn't have the best intentions behind it.
Look, yeah, at the end of the day, I personally believe Jaclyn had the best intentions, but it's just unfortunately, especially with what Eugenia was suffering from, again, this is a mental disorder. This is something that she has to live the rest of her life with. These T channels act like that's her fault that she has this disorder.
Even if we grant them that they are doing, like, the T channels are doing shit with the best intention, the fact of the matter is you're not going to help this woman by taking away the only thing she enjoys doing. Well, we assume it's the only thing she enjoys doing, and the only thing that's giving her income.
And the whole thing about the Jaclyn Glenn situation was that Eugenia Cooney, I believe she did say that her and her friends, they didn't really seem to be active in trying to, quote unquote, help her with her eating disorder. To her, it felt like them just 5150ing her just kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't something that was like built up to that.
Not to like shit on Eugenia Cooney, but you also have to understand that, like, people with these kinds of disorders and addicts and stuff like that, not saying people with disorders and addicts are the same, but people with these kinds of conditions, unfortunately, they will have kind of a more twisted recollection of how things are. So in Eugenia's mind, it might have been that they've never ever tried to help her before until that 5150, but that might have never been the case, and she just wasn't paying attention to the things they were trying to do before. Like, it's a very complex situation.
According to them, Eugenia Cooney's mom was not allowing her daughter to go and see them, kind of fueling that fire to the narrative of like her parents being abusive.
Again, that's like, if that's what they said that happened, then that's their word against the mom's word. Like, we don't have any definitive proof one way or the other. Like, the only piece of evidence we have is that one guy that stayed with them that one time. And it's better than zero proof, which is what we had before. But it still is only one occasion. And typically, people aren't going to act like them real selves when a guest is around.
I'm pretty sure that that's where the big rumor of her parents being abusive came from, honestly. It was because of them.
Well, it might have started from them and then it snowballed out of control. Because just because someone doesn't want you to see certain friends doesn't mean that they're abusive. That just might mean that they don't like you. I'm sure I have friends that my parents don't like, but I'm a full-grown adult now, so they can't really say anything about me not seeing them.
And Jaclyn Glenn also advocated for Eugenia Cooney to be removed from social media as well, too. So
yeah, that's wrong. But again, that just because of these separate things doesn't mean that the intentions behind the 5150 wasn't good. Nor does it mean that anyone who 5150 someone is doing it for the wrong intentions. Because again, the perfect example is the example with Steve-O, where they basically did the same thing to him, forced him to go to rehab, and he has been clean ever since then. There's like a whole documentary on it that's like actually really, really interesting. An eating disorder is not the same thing as an addiction. That's the problem.
Yeah, and then we have this whole idea of like the best intentions. We've heard that a lot recently with some other drama that's happening currently. But like, there's always the good intentions. We had good intentions. Like, I don't care if you had good intentions. Honestly, I really don't.
I care if someone has good intentions unless it gets proven otherwise that you didn't. Which, if we want to quickly use the example that you're clearly referring to, the John Swan stuff, I believe that Emma, for example, we're not going to get too into it. I believe she did have good intentions. There is no proof otherwise to me that she didn't have good intentions. John Swan said he did have good intentions, and there is an inconceivable amount of proof against the fact that he had good intentions. Multiple different DMs proving that he was trying to portray Cammy as a pedo way before this all even went down.
Exactly, yeah.
I think intentions do matter. Your fuck up can still be a fuck up, right? But it doesn't mean that the intentions don't matter. That's why we have different like degrees of crime, like intentional murder versus...
I do kind of feel that when people say I had good intentions though, or this person had good intentions, it feels like semi get out of jail free card of like, well, this person wasn't trying to cause damage, they just ended up doing something really fucked up.
Well, that's why you use a pattern of behavior. So again, I'll use John Swan as an example. We have a pattern of behavior of lying. We have a pattern based on different leaks and stuff. We have a pattern of behavior that he didn't like Cammy and was going to use something to get to Cammy. So we have enough behavior to believe that his good intentions are not realistic. But if we have someone that has never been in drama before, it's their first screw up, and they say that they had the best intentions, I'm a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. So if it's this person's first drama, I don't have evidence against them saying they had good intentions, then I'm going to err on the side of, yeah, they had good intentions.
Well, I was just going to say that, just because you have the best intention doesn't mean that you still didn't do something fucked up.
You can condemn the action without condemning the person. So what I mean by that, to be more specific, is I can say, you fucked up and you shouldn't do this again without saying, fuck you, you're a shitty person.
I agree with Mike on that.
But the craziness goes even further than that. And this is when we get into the second creator we're going to talk about, and that's Gabbie Hanna.
Oh boy.
Gabbie Hanna is another creator that has a very, very complicated story. She is a person who came into the scene, I believe it was from the death of Vine, actually. So she was around that time.
Yeah, she came over with the Paul brothers.
Yeah, during like the big Viner invasion.
Oh, yeah, I remember that term, the Viner invasion, yeah.
Yeah, that was ages ago.
Yeah, so she's been around here for such a long time, and when you're around here for that long, you're bound to have a big old catalog of dramas that you're getting yourself involved into. And unfortunately for Gabbie Hanna, she was involved in a lot of dramas, and similar to Eugenia Cooney, it's just completely fucking brain dead, like some of the accusations being made against her.
I know we want to get into the main drama that they're all specifically circling around her in. But like she became part of like the influence, like I know we just said that we hate the term influencer, but it's been normalized in this fucking community. The LA vlogger types, I guess is a better way to put it. She was in hook, line, and sinker in that type of crowd where it's just like, it's a lot of like catty TLC kind of fighting. That's the type of drama that like Drama Alert covers the majority of the time, was that type of bullshit. A lot of it was petty, and you know what? I'll say it here and now. There was a lot of stuff that was, Gabbie probably should have been called out for on that. But this particular main drama that we're focusing on was complete bullshit.
Yeah, something that I do want to say is just because we come out here and defend, quote unquote, Eugenia Cooney and Gabbie Hanna on issues, it doesn't mean that they are just these angels who have done nothing wrong.
Right.
Like, there's plenty of things to criticize them for, I'm sure, right? But it's just that the amount of criticism that these people are receiving and just the accusations and claims being made against them are just completely wild. And like the leaps in logic to like come to these conclusions are insane. So of course I want to talk about them and defend them, because it got to the point that people were just saying a bunch of crazy shit with like zero evidence. And this is again happening with Gabbie Hanna, just like the same thing that happened with Eugenia Cooney. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was that Gabbie Hanna has this cycle, right? Where someone calls her out on some crazy, ridiculous shit, right? And Gabbie Hanna then tries to defend herself on whatever this claim being made about her is. She tries her best, but it doesn't really work. And the T channels then just continued to lie about her. And then now that Gabbie's responded, they have then more videos to make about her.
Yeah.
And then Gabbie gets really upset by them doing this. And she has like a mental breakdown for this. She starts crying. She starts tweeting a lot. She gets mad. She has a breakdown.
And then that's more content they make. It's an endless cycle.
Yeah. She breathes, it's more content. If she like even makes like a breath, there's probably like 5 videos already in the works.
Ugh, I hate tea.
Yeah, if you look up Gabbie Hanna's name and outside of the videos that she's made herself, the amount of people that like talk about Gabbie Hanna is like fucking insane.
She's just as bad as Trisha Paytas, arguably.
People can make their entire YouTube careers just talking about like Gabbie Hanna.
Yeah, people have Angelicals. oh, bad cough. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she basically tries to defend herself and it doesn't work, so she has a breakdown. And that causes the T channels, and this is something that the T channels do all the time, is they love to concern troll. Now, if you don't know what a concern troll is when you pretend to care about an issue, but in actuality, you're trying to cause harm to the individual. And we can see that with the Eugenia Cooney petition. If you look at it, it's basically a petition that disguises itself as a petition that cares for Eugenia Cooney's well-being. They want Eugenia Cooney to receive help. But if you look at it a little bit deeper, not that deep, but just a little bit deeper, you'll see that what it's actually advocating for is to have her deplatformed. And this is something that people do with Gabbie Hanna as well too. As soon as she has like a breakdown, people go, well, Gabbie Hanna, she's not doing too well. She's having a mental breakdown. We should give her a little bit of break. The same shit over and over again.
Although like they want her to have mental breakdown so that way they can make more videos on it. And this specific drama right here is so fucking disgusting too. I'll let you introduce this, Exotic, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of Gabbie Hanna.
Oh god, this is a really wild story, guys. So, a while back ago, Gabbie Hanna was called a rape apologist. The amount of people that were calling her this got really fucking insane. To the point where it's like, okay, what did she do that was so bad that warranted something like this? So, here's what happened. Jessi Smiles was allegedly raped by Curtis. Initially, Gabbie Hanna was tweeting about Jessi, and she said something pretty mean towards Jessi, and then it seemed to be in favor of Curtis. But she did end up deleting that, and she actually met up with Jessi in person as well, too. And she did apologize for it.
Get this. Jessi never once said that Gabbie was a rape apologist. Not once.
Something that ended up happening was that Curtis reached out to Gabbie Hanna. Upon getting contacted by him, she, heard him out and listened to what he had to say, even though she disagreed with his side of things. She wasn't taking his side or anything, but she at the very least did hear him out. And because of this, that's where people were calling her a rape apologist. It's just because of the fact that she was willing to listen to Curtis' side of the story. And that's fucking crazy for me.
It's such a serious topic, and they mishandled it so blatantly. The only connection that they have is that she talked to him. She heard his side of the story. Usually when you're dealing with a very serious issue, it's prudent that you hear both sides of the story so that way you can come to some conclusion.
You take both sides so you can pick out like things that don't line up and like ensure like because these can be like life altering like allegations, so it'd be best to handle them with care.
Exactly.
When it comes to these type of accusations being thrown of rape or sexual assault or things like that, you want to make sure that you have all the facts out there.
Right.
There's a reason why we like to hear both sides of the story out. There could be a case where they're actually in the clear and they didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to get both sides of the story out there, because if you're wrong about this situation, then you could be trying to like go after someone, cancel them, life ruination them for no reason, for they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and the next drama that she got into is arguably somehow more ridiculous, specifically Bianca Devins, who it's unsettling. You can open that one up, Exotic.
Gabbie Hanna made a video talking about e-girls and how they dress and their style of dressing. So one of the girls in the article was named Bianca Devins. And the thing about Bianca Devins is that she is someone who had been murdered. So Gabbie Hanna in her video looked at that article, and she was mainly just looking at the pictures, honestly. But she was skimming through the article to understand and get an idea of what the e-girls were looking like. And she made a remark about how Bianca's outfit looked really good. Because of this whole situation was then twisted by the T channels to say that Gabbie Hanna is now disrespecting the dead.
Oh my god.
One of the main people who was doing this was Repzilla. He was like one of the original people who said, this is a murder article, even though it was about e-girls. He tried to twist it to say, oh, this is a article about this person's murder.
Yep, because he saw the other T channels covering it, and he dove head on in. And when Nicholas Diorio confronted him on Edwin's stream about the situation, he tried using his head injury as an excuse. If you suffer a head injury that makes it hard for you to do critical thinking, what's the one genre of YouTube that you might want to stay away from? Critical drama, maybe? You know, I'm just saying.
You probably don't want to get involved with any sort of drama that has to do with serious accusations.
Like I brought up earlier, stuff that, should handle with care.
And you don't want these fucking idiots, like these mouth breathers like Repzilla coming out there spewing all their dumb... Honestly, his points are just kind of just repeats of other T channels, honestly. But I digress, though. But this situation ended up getting so bad that Bianca Devins' mom ended up getting involved with this YouTube drama. And she ended up having no problem with Gabbie Hanna's video.
And then the T channels came out and said, no, honey, you're wrong. You're wrong about the situation involving your own goddamn daughter. Petty Page ratioed the mom, for God's sake.
Wait, I actually didn't know about that. Petty Page ratioed the mom.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because like they were the experts on the situation. They knew her daughter better than they did, supposedly.
Listen here, old lady. You obviously don't know anything about your own daughter's death, okay? We know more about your own daughter's death. Clearly.
Plus ratio.
Fucking schizo shit.
Yeah, like that. Repzilla was full on in there too. No, like you don't understand Gabbie Hanna's previous history. How does Gabbie Hanna's previous BS drama relate to you correlating her to be the fault of someone's death? They were acting like Gabbie Hanna pulled the goddamn knife herself.
When the mom got involved, they were doubling down on this drama and trying to explain to her that she's in the wrong, Gabbie Hanna is a villain, and in reality, that the T channels were in the wrong. But again, typical Repzilla, right? He tries to spin this situation as, well, here's the thing, right? Like, maybe we were both in the wrong. Like, Gabbie Hanna was also in the wrong, but like, we were in the wrong as well too. So it's like, they cannot just take accountability and just say, hey guys, we fucked up, we were wrong.
You're making my blood boil, dude, and we're not even talking to the actual guy. Angelica Oles, to get back to her, said, no, you don't understand. Your daughter was a victim like Jessi Smiles.
Oh my god, yes. Angelica Oles was someone who was also a contributor to talking about this. Part of the reason why they even were talking about Bianca Devins with Gabbie Hanna was that they're trying to say that Gabbie was trying to like exploit her for clout and they were disrespecting her. Which is just fucking completely wild to say, but regardless, though, Angelica Oles did message Kim Devins, which is Bianca Devins' mom, by the way. Kim Devins was trying to say that it seemed that Angelica Oles was trying to convince her to change her stance on how she felt about the situation.
Yeah, let me try to convince you on how you feel about someone being the fault of your daughter's death.
I hate tea.
Dude, it's completely fucking wild. I can't believe that Angelica Oles would do something like that.
You have to have like a certain level of ego. You have to have the balls to do that. In a strange way, I kind of respect it. But in the way, it's like you're a goddamn idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Well, these people don't actually do research into the situations. I mean, we have people like Repzilla, right? He was part of the people who called this. Remember, this is an article on e-girls and e-boys, right? And he tried to rebrand this article as a murder article.
He did not read a thing.
Yeah, he didn't read it. He didn't read it. He chose to rebrand this and paint Gabbie Hanna as like a villain for doing this, by the way.
Here's the thing, right? There was a little part of the article that explained that she was a murder victim. But here's the thing, right? The main focus was on e-boy and e-girl culture. The picture of Bianca was way bigger than like the little paragraph that was dedicated to like her murder, right? So let's put ourselves in Gabbie Hanna's shoes for a second. You're working on a video about e-girls and you're trying to get the look down, right? What's the main thing you're going to be looking for? Images. So when you click on an article specifically about like e-girl culture, you're mainly going to be focusing on the outfits. Gabbie Hanna did not disrespect her in any way, actually, because you know what Gabbie had the audacity to say about Bianca Devins? That she had a nice shirt.
Yeah.
That's what everyone was fucking bitching about.
Trying to say, this person has a nice shirt in this e-girl article too. This person is like disrespecting this murder victim who was stated in this murder article. It's like, whoa. Where'd you pull that one from?
The leaps in logic.
The absolute leaps that they're going, and they should go for like a fucking Olympic medal for the highest leap. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, I do have some tweets of the situation where people were talking about the whole Bianca Devins situation with Gabbie Hanna, including tweets from our favorite journalist, Kat Tenbarge.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Our favorite internet culture journalist, Kat Tenbarge.
We love journalists here at the Hindsight podcast. We love them so much.
Yeah, we love our journos here.
I love the link there. Gabbie Hanna lied.
Yeah, so Kat Tenbarge on June 30th tweeted out this Angelica Oles video about how Gabbie Hanna lied and manipulated the situation with Bianca Devins, right? This aged like fucking milk, by the way. Aged like milk. We'll read this out like a Deaf Noodles fucking headline. So she says that, I've been lucky to interview Angelica Oles, and she is extremely clever, well-researched, articulate, and engaging. The attack on her editorial standards and morals that Gabbie Hanna started and other people in the community perpetuated grosses me out so much. Angelica reports on information that influencers put out themselves. She didn't exploit the tragic death of Bianca Devins. She did a straightforward report based on what other people were saying about Gabbie Hanna's original video. I think that this video is a good example of reporting. Angelica reached out to a source, explained her process, put everything in context from a place of objectivity, despite her personal interactions with Gabbie Hanna. Anyways, by the way, it's anyway, that's bad grammar. Anyway, I think Angelica Oles has put up with a lot of unfairly thrown shit. I think reporters should defend each other. I think if we let big YouTubers harass and bully other reporters, we're opening the door to it happening to us too.
Can I go on a rant here before we continue?
Go ahead. She's a fucking idiot. Go ahead.
Why do YouTubers want to be reporters so badly?
Yeah.
Why do YouTubers want to become mainstream? You started on YouTube because you didn't want to be mainstream, but now you do? Like...
Yeah.
I know that doesn't really relate to tea topics, but like no, it actually does, because tea channels like to say that they're actual journalists.
There's no integrity. There's no credibility. There's no honest reporting.
They use tarot cards and blue butterfly symbols as their evidence. I don't think they can be journalists.
There's no sources.
Hey, you know what? Say what you want about commentary channels, but hey, at least we admit that, like, you know, we're kind of like bottom of the barrel, like drama stuff.
At least we admit our fuck ups and we use somewhat substantial evidence.
Yeah.
I have told anyone that contacted me that I approved the video. When Ready to Glare contacted me, I watched her original video and didn't see anything wrong with it. I also told her and Angelica Oles, probably what that means, that I thought you were owed an apology and not me. I felt that Bianca was being used to get to you.
These fuckers, these lowlives, subhuman fucking creatures used a dead girl just to get at Gabbie Hanna, their fucking cash cow. And to me, that's the worst fucking crime right here.
Dude, literally, they're actually using a dead girl to fucking attack Gabbie Hanna. And even trying to convince the mother that she's wrong. Unfortunately to say, it's become so normalized within the tea community to do this type of behavior. So we have a couple other tweets here too. And Gabbie Hanna also spoke with the mother as well too. She was basically in agreement with Gabbie Hanna.
Yeah.
People like Angelica Oles were not fucking dropping the situation. Angelica Oles was like tripling down on this situation. And it did come across as them trying to, I guess, manipulate Kim Devins.
Exotic, you don't understand. Angelica Oles is never wrong. You don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So Gabbie Hanna posted a video and tweeted out the following. Kim Devins approved only my video about Bianca. She didn't know the context of the series, but she wanted people to know that she felt they used her daughter to death for clout. She didn't watch everyone listed, so when she watched Ready to Glare's video, she said it didn't hurt her. Now, Nick Snyder, who is one of the known tea channels alongside Dustin Daly, since they're a couple, says the following. Gabbie, get help. You are deranged. You are continuing to drag the poor girl's name through the mud. It's not everyone's fault, I assure you. It's you. The way I look at this is it's kind of like a form of gaslighting. Nick here is trying to say that it's Gabbie's fault for, keep talking about the situation, despite all the tea channels. Whenever Gabbie Hanna tries to make a response or some sort of defense, then they jump on it, on the bandwagon as well, which, as you brought up earlier, Exotic, it's just a cycle.
Notice his wording too. You are deranged. You're continuing to drag the poor girl's name through the mud. No, she wasn't. You motherfucker. Oh, I want to rage out so badly. You have no idea.
Yeah, these people are literally fucking gaslighting right now. And Mike, can we get a little bit of a comment from you actually? Because you know a lot about gaslighting now, don't you?
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm actually on this podcast because I am I'm a professional gaslighter. The fact of the matter is that she did this thing one time, right? She looked at this article, talked about the girl, right? And then everyone jumped on her, and she's trying to defend herself, and even the mom has defended Gabbie. But all these tea channels, see, the thing is, I could actually kind of give them a pass and say maybe they really think they're doing a good thing. I do not believe that once the mother of the daughter literally comes out and says, oh, actually, I don't have a problem with what Gabbie did. It wasn't offensive to me. But all these people are getting offended for her and telling her that she's wrong. It's basic gaslighting. It's about as borderline gaslighting as you get, where you're pretty much making her try to believe a different reality than what is actual reality.
Yeah, what they're doing here, with the mom specifically, it's how there are woke white people who try to be offended for black people. Sometimes the black person is not offended whatsoever, but the woke white person will try to be offended for them.
T-Spill tweeted out saying, if Gabbie Hanna truly cared about this family and the mother, she would have messaged Angelica privately and told her where and how to reach out. This is only an issue now because Gabbie wants a public apology from the person she's obsessed with the most, Angelica Oles, which is very ironic considering how obsessed everyone is with Gabbie at this time.
Yeah.
It's literally the opposite of what she's saying. Everybody is obsessed with Gabbie Hanna. You said it before, Nerd John, is that Gabbie Hanna is literally their cash cow. And they make a video of Gabbie Hanna blinks the wrong way. Every tea channel is going to make a fucking video about her. And that's going to be the next talk for
And how she blinked is simultaneously a signal for the alt-right. And she actually told 12 different people with that blink that she was homophobic or something along those lines.
Yeah, and Angelica Oles is so obsessed with fucking Gabbie Hanna. If you look at her content and you just search up Gabbie Hanna and her throughout all her videos. Like, there's so much fucking content relating to Gabbie Hanna.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. And the thing about that is that, yeah, Gabbie Hanna does want an apology from Angelica Oles because Angelica Oles is just fucking slandering her.
Usually when you slander someone, that person wants the apology, especially if you're fucking saying that you disrespected a fucking dead girl.
And yeah, Gabbie Hanna does want an apology because she was legitimately wronged by people such as Angelica Oles, such as Repzilla. And people like fucking T-Spill and also Nick Schneider are fucking stupid.
Honestly, I'm glad Willie Mack came in and became the #1 T channel and basically ruined all their careers.
So we have a tweet here from Kim Devins. Do I want public apologies? No. But Gabbie Hanna deserves the apologies for being attacked after I put out I was offended by her video. All of this should have ended when I said I wasn't bothered by Gabbie using B's picture. This is literally Bianca Devins' mother coming out to saying Gabbie Hanna should be getting the apologies because she was slandered by these T channels.
Yeah, T channels are completely unable to admit fault in situations. They're unable to take any sort of accountability.
Because their feelings told them that they were right. Their feelings told them.
Yeah, their feelings, yeah.
Their tarot cards and all that.
Ugh, I hate tea.
Their feelings got all fucking hurt, bro.
This is a take from Nicholas DiOrio, our favorite Oreo man in the community. The T channels didn't respect the family when they used a deceased child for profit. The T channels didn't respect the family when they publicly spoke out. The T channels didn't respect the family when the narrative shifted. The T channels don't respect the family. They used a girl who was tragically murdered for views, and now suddenly it's no longer news. I'm sorry, my dude, but this misreporting has to be one of the biggest heists of YouTube history, and by hell and high water, I will be documenting it. Likely without names, in line with Etika discussion and attempting to separate the girl from the situation. But I'm sorry, anyone slandered this fucking hard is owed a defense, and anyone who lies this easily is owed a video.
I'm so glad that people like Nick DiOrio and Willie Mack were talking about the T channels and how badly the T channel's reputation just sunk down the fucking toilet, dude.
So this is a tweet from Repzilla. He says, I removed my earlier tweets about the Gabbie Hanna situation out of respect for Kim Devins and her family. I don't want to contribute or perpetuate negativity in any way and fully believe that both sides are in the wrong and would encourage others to take this route. So in this situation, he's saying that the mother is somehow wrong in this situation because she's defending Gabbie. The mother of the murder victim is wrong. Let that sink in, folks.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of T channels completely unwilling to admit fault. We have Repzilla here, who's half-assing like an apology, or half-assing taking accountability for what he's done and what he said about Gabbie Hanna. While he does admit that the T channels are in the wrong, he can't help but to be like, well, you know, Gabbie Hanna is also in the wrong too. You know, the mom's also in the wrong too.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, you're wrong too, mister.
Oh god, I can't fucking stand these people.
It's exhausting with these people, man.
Yeah, fortunately for us, you know, the fucking drama doesn't stop there because there is another figure in the T channel community that also pretty relentlessly goes after fucking Gabbie Hanna.
Gabbie Hanna is legit the only reason why she had any relevancy.
This is somebody that you actually talked about. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Your coverage of this person was pretty good. I enjoyed watching those videos about her. And of course, who is that person, Nerdy John?
Helloleesh, my favorite T channel besides Belle Aubrey, of course, you know.
Helloleesh.
Boys and girls, let Nerdy John tell you the anime lore to this. Keemstar, Nick, Tipster, the main guys in commentary, were all defending Gabbie, right? Because, hey, they realized how ridiculous the situation was. Helloleesh, the fact that going after Gabbie Hanna is like her main thing, you know, she had to defend her position. These were harsh critiques, man. Like, I'm surprised that, like, anybody in the commentary community still has a channel after she had said this. Her main points were that the majority of us are straight, white, and that we're dudes.
No.
Jesus Christ. No, not the fact that we're men. Oh, no.
Nice buzzwords, Helloleesh.
And when it was brought to her attention that Tipster is Latino, she was really fucking weird about it. Her fans were saying that he was white passing. When she did find out, she's like, Tipster, you need to defend me, my Latino brother. If we're talking about white passing, by the way, I think it's a bullshit narrative, right? She claims that she's black and that she's Latino. She's white as the snow, my guys, and she's black in the sense that her dad, who adopted her, was black.
Wait, what?
I hate this argument, honestly, and this goes into like some like bullshit political stuff as well too. But like white and black is literally just your skin color. Being Latino,
Actually,
or Tipster is Mexican, I believe, right?
Yes.
he's Mexican, yes.
Yeah, so being Mexican, it's not exactly comparable to being white and black because that's not skin color. It's fucking stupid. And if we're just basing things just off skin color, Tipster's not white. And also, Edwin's generation was someone else involved in this. He's not white either. The only person whose skin color is similar to being white is Helloleesh.
Yeah, like her and Augie are like the same shade of white, my dudes. I just want that out there.
Wait, Mike, what were you gonna say?
No, you said that being white and black is only connected to skin color, and I said actually.
Actually, good sir.
Actually.
Well, actually, you don't understand.
Yeah, let me educate you on the matter.
I'm gonna edumacate you.
Ayo.
Yeah, she tried to have like this big moral grandstand against the commentary community, right? And the boys did some digging, to say the least, and they found this app where you could do like karaoke stuff, sing along to your favorite songs. There's one creator that she really liked who goes by the name of Lil Wayne. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard of him before. He's kind of a big rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of a big deal,
Yeah.
Little bit of a big deal.
And has songs featuring certain words.
Yeah, words that Helloleesh had no problem saying at all. Her fan base, they did not like this. So, boys, I have a bit of insight on this, actually. Originally, her response was going to be a notepad response. Not even a twit logger, a notepad response.
What?
Her Patreon supporters strong-armed her into making the apology video, which was terrible, by the way. And then her fan base also criticized her for willing to talk to someone who was openly transphobic. Now, obviously, to me and you, that's no big deal. After all, open dialogue is a good way to gain common ground with someone that you have disagreements with. But remember, Helloleesh has cultivated this audience of people who moral grandstand. As soon as you do one bad thing, you're bad forever, basically, right?
Yeah, pro cancel culture type of shit.
Yeah, pro cancel culture type. And so, she took months off. Her channel was dead for a very long time. She's only recently came back, but she's like, guys, get this. She's above drama now. She doesn't want to talk about drama anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty common for creators. As soon as they get called out, it's just, guys, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
It's not funny anymore. It's not fun.
So Helloleesh got caught singing along to a Lil Wayne song and saying slurs. Not a big deal, honestly, for people like us. But for her and her community, this was like the catalyst that started everything. And this basically just destroyed her entire community.
Yeah, destroyed it entirely. You're in a community where you're calling people out for saying slurs. And then you'd have the person who runs the community get caught for saying slurs.
If you're going to be the type of person that's going to go around and criticizing people for using slurs and kind of moral, over it, then you better make sure that you have like the cleanest fucking record imaginable, okay?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, your record needs to be as clean as mine if you're gonna be a moral F slur.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be like Mike the Bike if you're going to call people out, man.
Exactly.
Here's the thing about you, Mike, is that you've never really faced any sort of criticism ever in your time in YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never even said a slur in my entire life.
Never.
Yeah, you've never said anything like that.
I've had slurries. Those are pretty yummy.
Oh, you know, those are pretty good, you know.
Yeah, but I've never said a slur. I'm a paragon of whiteness, and I don't mean by race. I'm Hispanic, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to be the type of person to go around and police other people and, you know, play a little hall monitor for anyone who says slurs, you better make sure that you're like Mike the Bike, okay? Never said a slur in his life, okay?
never has gotten into any controversy whatsoever.
Ayo.
So Helloleesh has a podcast, and it's called Basically a Podcast. So in episode number 25, she was questioning why the, you know, quote unquote, the straight white male drama channels were getting a pass while the T channels don't. And this is something that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier too, where it's like T channels and commentary channels are actually kind of similar in the fact that they both talk about subjects. But the difference is that, you know, the T channels are dishonest, they suck, you know, bad sources, emotional arguments, that type of shit. So she was wondering why that they get a pass. And the thing about her phrasing of this is that we don't side with commentary and drama channels because they're straight and they're white and they're males. It's because people like the fucking T channels are just completely brain dead and saying these completely wild accusations against people like Eugenia Cooney and Gabbie Hanna. While commentary channels and the drama sphere, they don't pull this type of bullshit. And the people who do pull this type of bullshit are branded as dishonest, no credibility, like similar to like T channels. So it's not the fact that they're just white and that they're males. It's fucking ridiculous to come to that conclusion. And it just shows you how fucking retarded that she actually is.
That's a nice way of putting it, exotic. That's for sure.
Ugh, I hate tea.
I can't with this woman, I swear.
She had a community that was built off of a bunch of bullshit, and now that bullshit's finally coming down. And I don't feel bad for her at all. I just saw her video of her crying, apologizing, and no one's buying her bullshit, honestly. I think even her own fans are turning on her. We have people who were involved in the leash community fucking making videos about her, about why she's like a terrible person.
Yeah, Xylee. I don't know if you know about her, exotic, but I know about her. She's actually kind of in the Willie Max sphere a bit because she hangs around him and she hangs around on Dead on Dave streams. She was a mod for Helloleesh for quite a bit. But, you know, she became based.
She got red pilled or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of red pilled, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fuck Helloleesh. I don't feel bad for her at all. She just fucking sucks. And she can just try her best to come back, but it's not going to work. And no one's going to take her seriously.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Gabbie Hanna, there's also, well, there's a tons of people that don't like her. But part of the bigger Gabbie Hanna dramas had to do with her involvement with Trisha Paytas. Now, Trisha Paytas is another figure that's been around for an extremely long time. Judging by my voice, you can probably tell that I don't like Trisha Paytas, and I talked about Trisha Paytas with you, Nerdy John.
What do you mean? Trisha's based as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, you're so bullshit.
Don't you know that, look, Anon is making a whole documentary on her to relieve her of all of her crimes.
Yeah, and in fact, I have a clip that explains exactly my thoughts of Trisha Paytas. I'm going to put in general here.
When she did the 1,000 layers challenge, that's when I knew this girl's going places.
Admit it, Mike. You have a subscription to the OnlyFans. Don't lie.
Christ almighty, I'd kill myself.
I would too, especially if you've seen a certain image of her with some toilet paper.
I still have not seen that image, thankfully.
I haven't seen it either, but I know of its existence.
I blame Repzilla.
Exotic. if you put that in the final cut, then someone's gonna send Mike that. You gotta want to be careful saying that.
What the fuck?
Anyone who sends that to me will be instantly blocked, and I will send a nuke to your house. And that is not a threat. That's a promise.
It's not a threat. It's a promise.
It's not a threat. It's a promise.
Yeah, you know what happens on Tommy C's show? That's gonna happen IRL.
Exactly. Don't fuck with me.
I honestly don't understand why people are so invested in Trisha Paytas.
Like, what are you talking about? She is like so entertaining. Like, oh my god.
Admittedly, she is a train wreck.
And she's been around here for such a long time that she has like a massive catalog of dramas and situations she's gotten herself involved in. It's fucking crazy. But her involvement with Gabbie Hanna is no different from just average Trisha Paytas bullshittery, right?
Yeah.
So Trisha Paytas and Gabbie Hanna have had an interesting relationship over the years, right?
You could say that.
Trisha Paytas and Gabbie Hanna had a conversation over text, and it seemed that they were kind of friends with each other. They had an interest in poetry, and it seemed that Trisha Paytas was interested in reading Gabbie Hanna's book of poetry, right? Unfortunately, that wasn't how things played out. And Gabbie Hanna was basically branded by Trisha Paytas as a stalker, someone who's delusional, obsessed with Trisha Paytas. And how did this happen, by the way? Well, because of their interest in poetry, Trisha Paytas then seemingly asked Gabbie Hanna to send her a copy of her poetry book. And Gabbie Hanna was like, yeah, sure, I'll send you one for free. Just let me know your address and I'll have it shipped over, right? Trisha Paytas was saying that Gabbie Hanna is trying to find her address. And another thing she also said was that Gabbie Hanna even showed up to her house. And then for a while there, people were trying to get proof of this from security tapes or any sort of proof that she had of Gabbie Hanna showing up to her house. And there was none. And Trisha Paytas, like as usual, was just completely full of shit lying about Gabbie Hanna.
I remember Angelica Oles making a couple of videos. Nick Snyder and Dustin Daly, too, specifically made videos defending Trisha, oddly enough, because those are the guys who usually go after her constantly. I guess one cash cow is more valuable than the other. But yeah, it was one of those instances where even though Trisha has been a proven liar constantly, and the fact that Gabbie showed proof that she wasn't stalking her, Gabbie's this insane stalker.
It baffles my mind too. And another thing about this is that Gabbie actually ended up confronting Trisha about this on their podcast where they sat down in front of each other in person actually, and they were discussing this. And something that really caught my eye was how Trisha Paytas was trying to rewrite history. She was trying to say that her and Gabbie were literally never friends. Gabbie Hanna's friendship, quote unquote, with her was just Gabbie Hanna just being delusional. And that's fucking crazy, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at the situation, it's clearly one of those cases like, they were friends, they were talking in the DMs. So,
well, plus, too, like, Trisha was doing the same thing that she accuses people of doing to her, where it's like, no, that's not what happened. You're crazy for thinking this.
Yeah, literally gaslighting Gabbie Hanna into being crazy, and that she's just delusional. But if you look at their text conversations, which Gabbie Hanna provided in her video, on her side of the situation, you can see that they actually had like a pretty cool conversations with each other and that they seem to be on like friendly terms. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call them like fucking best buddies or anything like that, but being friendly terms with someone is like, it's good enough, honestly, if you were to imagine someone as friends. But to say that they had like, there was no friendship between them at all, and that she's just delusional, it's complete fucking bullshit. And Trisha Paytas, I mean, at this point, no one buys Trisha Paytas' shit. But it's still pretty crazy that people were going this far and furthering the narrative that Gabbie Hanna is this fucking delusional, crazy person.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't agree with you more. For better or for worse, Trisha has retroactively ruined her own online career consistently throughout the past couple of months since the Gabbie Hanna stuff. So I guess there doesn't really need to be retribution in that case because Trisha kind of shot herself in the foot.
And while we kind of end off the Gabbie Hanna situation, there was one idiot that I really wanted to look at because she had a completely nuclear take on Gabbie Hanna.
Unhinged take.
Unhinged, fucking batshit insane take.
If you thought anything that we've talked about so far was unhinged, you sit down and get ready because this is about to get way worse.
So there is a creator of the name An Honest Conversation. Now, if you watch her content, you'll know that there's nothing honest about it. It's a very dishonest conversation, right? So one of her takes on the Gabbie Hanna and Jessi Smiles situation was that she claimed that she theorized that Gabbie Hanna was jealous of the attention that Jessi Smiles was getting after Jessi was, raped.
It's probably the most unhinged take out of this entire debacle.
But we have to remember, she censored herself. She just said she's jealous that she was R-worded, right?
Oh yeah, these T channels love to play like the algorithm game and love to like self-censor.
I remember Bo Blacks, Nick, and Augie commenting on the situation. So wait, couldn't you interpret that as like she was jealous? She was jealous that Jessi Smiles was retarded.
See, here's the thing, right? It's completely fucking crazy thing to say. It's like what she's basically saying is that Gabbie is jealous of Jessi's rape clout.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I need to give me some of that. I need me some of that rape clout. What the fuck?
I know, it's completely fucking crazy. It's just like how these people are just too much. Honestly, they just fucking suck. I can't stand them.
And you know what? Honest Conversation knew she fucked up there because literally within like an hour of that stream being done, it was gone, but it was too late.
Yeah, it was too late. We already know that it happened.
Yeah, I already have that.
Yeah, a dishonest conversation.
Yeah.
The name's honestly kind of hypocritical. More like an unhinged conversation.
Unhinged ramblings. But Exotic, I believe there's like some extra content that we scrambled up during the research for this podcast episode, right?
Oh my goodness, there was some extra content that we ended up finding. How about we look at a certain someone? We can look at Maia Papaiya's content.
Oh god. Maia Papaiyaa is like an equally unhinged Belle Aubrey, but she's on the TikTok platform, and which makes it 100 times worse.
Yeah, if you know anything about TikTok,
hold on. Is she hot?
Oh my god.
She's okay.
Well, here, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my browser real quick, and I'm going to then show you guys, this incredible Maia Papaiyaa content we can see.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at a video.
While Exotic is pulling that up, I want to give a shout out to Taps. Congratulations on your bar mitzvah. I hope it went swimmingly.
Yo, let's go.
We're glad that you finally went to class.
Yeah, and I do want to say, if you aren't on TikTok, here's a quick background with communities on there. YouTube communities, but 100 times more crustier.
Yeah, a lot of these TikTokers, what they ended up doing is because of the fact that it's TikTok and you can't upload like really long content or anything like that. What they end up doing is just posting really fast content that goes over like the details in the most bare way possible. It ends up becoming really shit, honestly.
Yeah, it really does. She's on the Sigma Male grind set. Why aren't you, Exotic?
Yeah, what the fuck?
So true.
Unfortunately, I do not want to be anything similar to Maia Papaiyaa.
This next couple minutes is just us bullying Exotic for not uploading. Dude, you're the Nicholas Diorio of this podcast.
Oh, dude, but I'm not as overweight as him, though, dude. I think Mike got me beat in that
but you're a narwhal, though.
Also, it's good to have you here, Squatch, and I know you've been a little bit quiet, but like, hey, can you say the thing?
Yeah, say the thing, Squatch.
Ew, that's me.
Ayo.
But it's so hard to look through all of her content because the thumbnails are just her face. They're worse than fucking like the Def Noodles thumbnails where it's just his face like copied and pasted again and again and again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he gets oranger with each.
Shit.
Well, don't you know he is Brazilian?
Yeah, he's Brazilian. All right.
We're gonna watch this fucking Maia Papaiyaa video, and spoiler warning, it's fucking shit. So she's talking about Eugenia Cooney's dad, and she just has like the classic fucking wild takes against Eugenia Cooney's dad that we've heard so many times at this point.
She's not hot.
But let's go over this, right? And obviously we have the fucking censorship of her body because we don't want to trigger anybody.
Let's talk about every time Eugenia's dad has come on to stream. What we know about Eugenia's dad, she has said in her former Draw My Life video that she has deleted that he spends a lot of time working in the city. He does not like to be on camera, but occasionally he will accidentally walk in the room while Eugenia is streaming. I would like to add that he almost never knocks and just opens the door. In an old video, Eugenia complained about parents doing this.
Okay, so this is like our first main thing of like, guys, guess what? Her dad walks in the room without knocking sometimes. And I don't know, I feel like she's like framing it as like a point against him.
Well, your parents shouldn't walk in on you, and that's abuse if they walk in without knocking.
Clearly.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm in the wrong on this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
And also, actually, it's even more abuse when they okay, I hate this shit, unironically. When they leave and they don't close the door.
Yeah.
When they don't close the door, like, holy shit, close the door. It was closed before.
So right now, it's a little bit tame, you know, she's not really saying something that's fucking damning, but we'll see just how quickly this snowball ends up fucking forming, okay?
She kind of looks like a mix between Orochimaru and Melania Trump. She kind of looks like a mix between those two people. I'm not gonna lie.
Orochimaru is hotter though. What the fuck?
He is kind of hot. Have you seen what that tongue can do? Anyways, you can get to the video.
All right, buddy.
Okay, I'm disavowing. Dude, I have to disavow every time Mike the Bike does something simp related. I see you all the time,
Okay,
Mike.
Exotic. All right, Exotic, fight me. Do you not think it's cool that he can just summon a snake out of his mouth and the snake pulls out a sword?
It is cool. It's cool as hell.
See what that tongue do, though?
Bro, you just disavow, though. Disavow, though. I have to disavow that based off of I have to stay morally consistent and disavow everything that Mike the Bike does when it comes to simping.
Shout out to Mishi the Sheep. She's a great artist.
No, we're not shouting out Misha the Sheep. I will censor that. Wait, does that mean I have to censor myself too?
Yeah, I'm gonna release my part of the podcast.
Here, I'm about to make editing a whole lot harder for you if you're just gonna censor it. Shout out to Mishi, shout out to Mishi, shout out to Mishi.
I hate you. No shout outs to Mish the Sheep. I have to, based on my own standards, I have to disavow basically everything that she puts out, okay? No simping, I have to disavow that, okay? And since we're on the podcast, let me explain why. Here's the thing, right? The reason of the disavow existing is that the disavow is a sort of shield that content creators have created to just completely make them immune to all sort of criticism. So when I disavow Mike the Bike and any sort of weird shit that he's into, I by me saying disavow, you can't criticize me. So let me further explain. So while I'm at work, right, I frequently pull up my phone to check Twitter, right? Something that I see fairly consistently is Kiwi Sunset and Misha the Sheep.
Dude, I haven't liked or retweeted her stuff in months. You're capping now.
Okay, this was before though, okay? I'm talking about before. So I would see them on my phone and I'm at work and shit and I'm like looking around at my coworkers. I'm like, bro, I don't want my coworkers to think I'm some sort of little fucking freak, okay? I don't want to think of me as like some little degenerate.
Your coworkers are going to be you know what's going to happen? Your coworkers are going to see that like, damn, who's that? She's hot. That's what they're going to say.
No, I'm not gonna be painted as a little fucking freak, okay? So what I did was I was like, Mike the Bike, you're a simp. I have to disavow Kiwi Sunset, I have to disavow Mishi the Sheep. Because I can't let my coworkers think I'm a little fucking freak. And because of that, guess what? Mike the Bike has liked less of their stuff and retweeted less of their stuff. So I think I ended up fucking owning you in this case. I ended up winning the argument.
Actually, no, I could own you because you never decided to mute Mishi or Kiwi. So it's kind of on you.
You actively search them out. Don't lie, Exotic.
I don't.
I won't go that far, but if you don't want to see something on your timeline, all you have to do is mute it. I'm not into anything weird. This is slander.
You're trying to gaslight him, Exotic. What the fuck?
You're gaslighting me.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Hold on, Mike. I know you're into simping and we're all into, and you're into some weird shit, but can we stay on topic for like a second? We talk about Maia Papaiyaa.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll stay on topic.
But back to the T channel topic.
Yeah, let's go back to this Orochimaru looking bitch.
Let's go. Let's see the amounts of
Look at that
beliefs
freeze
and logic
frame,
we're
though.
saying.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Every single time he has been on stream, he has either been obscured or off of camera. Most notable time he came onto stream was on Eugenia's birthday in 2017. He walked in and wished her a happy birthday, and then said that she didn't look a day over 14. A lot of people interpreted this as very creepy. I myself find this comment very strange. Eugenia then turned to the stream and said, "Wow guys, my dad says I don't look a day over 14. What do you guys think?" She seemed kind of happy to take this as a compliment if you consider it that.
What the fuck is she talking about?
She's a total schizo. She's crazy.
I know, she's a complete schizo, bro. She didn't take her normal pills this fucking TikTok, holy shit.
Ayo.
She needs a bigger intake of papayas.
So that's going to conclude episode 3 of the Hindsight podcast. T channels.
Woo! Let's go.
I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, I am your host, Exotic, and along with me, we have Party 117.
Yo. Thank y'all for showing up.
Mike the Bike.
Thank you for watching, and again, congratulations to Taps on going to class and going to her bar mitzvah. I have a lot of respect for her.
Good shit, Taps, if you're listening.
Everyone, if you see this, if you made it to this point in the podcast, tweet out #congrats Taps.
Tweet out #congrats Taps and at the Hindsight podcast.
Congratulations, Taps.
Congrats, Taps.
I'd also like to give a big thank you to the Ghost of Squatchin for being here this episode. Squatchin, say your thing.
Ayo. You know what? I take it back. Not all tea is bad. Sweet tea is good. I could really go for some sweet tea right now. If anyone has any good recipes for such a beverage, please drop them in the comments.
Thank you, Squatchin. Okay, for real though, I'd like to give a massive thank you to Nerdy John for being a guest here on our podcast. So thank you, Nerdy John. And why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about what you've been working on with your content?
All right, boys and girls, I make really mediocre content. You know, I do the average topic commentary video every now and then. I do drama live streams. I work with Dead on Dave as his producer. We do a show specifically with Willie Mack called Willie Mack Wednesdays, and we go over the week's drama for that time. It's great fun. We all have a good laugh, and you get to see a highlight video from it every now and then. So if you guys are interested in that content, go subscribe to Dead on Dave and go subscribe to me at nerdyjohn.to2.
And you're forgetting one important part, Nerdy John, that I remember but you didn't say, is that you are also the host of your own show.
Oh yes, the Copious After Hours and the Nerdy Live Show. Yeah, we have fun. We have fun there. We cover our own dramas for that week as well. We allow call-ins for the after show as well. So if you guys have based opinions or like unpopular takes, go ahead and send them my way. You know, I'll listen out and then I'll laugh at you. You know, but I'll be fair about it.
And of course, yes, I'll be sure to put all of Nerdy John's links to his Twitter and his YouTube inside the description. Any concluding thoughts, Mike and Party?
Subscribe to Hindsight, subscribe to Party for PNN, subscribe to Exotic for reviews and the occasional stream every 2 months. Subscribe to John, subscribe to me. I'm going to start streaming 3 times a week, Friday through Sunday, and expect new music soon. And don't forget, cocaine's bad for you. Never do it like me.
PNN is a show I do with Exotic every Wednesday at 3 p.m. CST, where we talk about tech, gaming, and other news we find interesting. And we post highlights to my channel, which my link will be in the description as well. Go check that out.
So yeah, that was episode 3 of the Hindsight podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time.
Woo! Later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.